Talk. This is your community's podcast with conversations about real estate, local happenings, and all things Winchester, Virginia. I'm Mark Francis, your local realtor, broker, and owner at Icon Real Estate.
And I'm Megan Eanes, a local realtor for 21 years and part of the Icon Real Estate team. Mark and I are so excited to share everything that we love about Winchester, Virginia with you. We want you to be an informed, savvy real estate consumer in today's ever-changing market.
Yep. If you want local knowledge, you have come to the right place. Well, we are mid-November. We are cruising along here.
That's right.
Episode 68 for Iconic Talk. I love it.
I know, it's wonderful. It's funny because when I first started this, I think my first episode was 40.
And I'm so excited that you're part of this.
I'm so glad that you asked me, and it worked out because I really do enjoy doing this.
It's fun. It's fun. And it's fun because we get a chance to talk about, yes, real estate, but things about our community, things about what's happening around town, things that you might not know about. And it's just a great opportunity to be informed about
right, and meeting
truly
new
all things
people
Winchester.
in the community also, and businesses that we didn't even know existed here.
Yep.
And I'm hopeful. One of my kind of wishes for the podcast is to be able to have, obviously grow our listeners, but also to be able to have listeners that, are from this town, maybe went to high school here, that grew up in this area, that don't live here anymore, but want to keep hearing about what's going on in your hometown.
Absolutely. Or if you don't even live in Winchester and you're thinking about moving here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So listen to a couple episodes and you get caught up really quick.
That's right. That's very true.
Well, we've been doing the segment of what are you thankful for here in the month of November. So once again, I will turn to you first, Megan.
Good, because I had mine and I didn't want you to go first.
Oh, yes.
Maybe I should say I'm thankful for you letting me go first.
Stop. Okay.
I am thankful for this career that I've been able to do now for, again, this is my 21st year in October. It hit 21 years, and I'm just grateful to be able to do this and to be able to continue to love what I do and help people find homes and sell homes.
Okay.
So
you can,
I know it's a little cheesy.
You continue to go down
you
go down the very, not cheesy, but sentimental
I'm
range.
very sentimental.
Yeah, well, I'm not always sentimental. I get yelled at about that sometimes too much, but
I'm sometimes overly sentimental, so I guess we balance out quite
great.
nicely.
Yes, so you can call me, I don't know, rude, harsh, just anything like that. Of just
I would never.
Yeah, Scrooge. No, I'm not that bad. But so I will not go sentimental. I will say I am thankful for sports. I'm a sports junkie. I love sports. I've grown up playing sports, doing anything athletic, and the World Cup is right around the corner.
Oh, that's right.
So I have to say in this episode, I have all the hope in the world because the United States is in the World Cup if you know anything about soccer, they just tanked 4.5 years ago and did not qualify. It was awful. So it's been 8.5 years since the United States has been in the World Cup because it's every 4 years. So anyway, I'm filled with hope today because the tournament is about ready to start and it's level playing field. Everybody has the same number of points, the same number of wins and losses right now, and at least there's 3 games of watching the United States play coming up.
Well, that's
3 games
awesome.
of joy or 3 games of just dread, and then you say another 4 more years. So I'm thankful for sports and everything athletic. So
I like that one, and also because sports really can bring people together.
Yep.
And it also, there's all kinds of different sports that you can be watching, obviously soccer. And then we've got Thanksgiving coming up here. And of course, that's football. And then, of course, my family, we're big swimmers.
Yep.
So swimming is a huge sport in our family. We watch it in the Olympics.
Yes.
Love watching the Olympics.
So I will also give a quick update. My son finished in the state cross-country meet this past weekend.
How did he do?
And the team finished second in the state.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's amazing. They had high hopes of hopefully winning it. He finished third on his team, 17th overall in the entire state. And they just ran their guts out. It was a ridiculously difficult course because they had to run up and down multiple hills. We're talking not small things. This is insane. So how he ran in the amount of time, it was basically 17 minutes to go up and down these hills for a 5K.
And was this
which
just
is
this
insane.
past Saturday?
Yes.
So this was after the tropical storm came through.
Yeah,
and
so the storm blew through, and Saturday was amazing. So shout out to Hanley and getting second place for their team. James Wood had a girl runner who finished fourth overall. So she did great as well. So shout out to Matt Lofton and coaching there. Shout out to Mark Stickley, who's been on the episodes as well, and coaching for Hanley. So just, great sports weekend all around. And something about sports, and you say swimming and I say soccer and running, and there's little pockets of communities around town that we like to talk about. There's like I was in the soccer community, now I'm in the running community, you're in the swimming community. So I want to hear more about the swimming community, and we have an amazing guest on today where we get a chance to hear about her entrepreneurial attitude and how her passion for swimming and teaching combined of how to do that just grew into a ridiculous, amazing business. So it's Noelle Callas, one of your friends, Megan.
Yes.
So I'm excited to have her on from Splasher Aquatics Swim School.
Yes.
So here's our conversation with Noelle. Well, hey there, Noelle. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Excited to have you here. And Megan, you are the attraction here of the draw of getting Noelle in our podcast today. I'm excited about that. So,
Noelle, well, I've known Noelle for a while now, and she knows two of my children quite well. So it's like, you need to get on here.
Common interests. So we want to hear about you. So give us a little bit of your story, your background. How did you come to Winchester?
Well, first, I want to thank you guys for having me on, Meg. Thanks for bringing me into this.
Thanks for saying yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually from this area. I was born in Fairfax, moved to Clark County. My parents moved us out to Clark to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city life. Grew up there, graduated back. I won't say when I graduated. That'll tell my age. But went away to school and came back, met my husband, and worked corporate world. I have an IT degree, back when IT degrees were just IT.
Yeah. From where?
Syracuse University.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to go far. You know, growing up in a small town, you kind of just, you need to get away and see the world a little bit. So I went as far away as I could get accepted.
But you managed the cold weather up there?
Ironically, I loved the snow when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We grew up on a 5-acre plot of land, so we were always out, you know, like all of us were when we were kids, just, you know, running the woods, never home. So I loved the snow. And ironically, my mom and I went to Syracuse one weekend and it snowed. And I got into a school in the South, and then I had my backup Virginia school, you know, because everybody has their backup Virginia school. And I got in and I fell in love with Syracuse. And we had to drive around in a snowstorm, and not a great car in the snow.
Right.
And just fell in love and went, and, you know, feet and feet and feet of snow later. I still love the snow, but, you know, when you grow up and have kids, and it's an inconvenience now.
Sure.
But yeah, I loved going to school there. I loved being far enough away where I couldn't just come home whenever I needed to. And I think it cultured me a lot. It taught me a lot about life and how to survive without mom and dad down the road.
That's what college is for.
Yeah.
Right? Sure.
So, but I moved home and lived here. And like I said, I think I have a greater appreciation, like most of us do when we move away.
But an IT degree. So
so most people don't know this about me.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had an IT degree.
So actually, I have a more interesting fact. I went to college to be a doctor.
Okay.
My whole life, I wanted to work in the trauma unit in New York City, in Cedars-Sinai ER. I wanted to be an ER doctor.
That would be intense.
Yes.
Yeah.
My senior year of high school, I actually got to do an internship through school with Winchester Medical Center, and I got to work in the ER like all hours of the night. It was crazy that I even got to do this as a senior. But I went to school and just, I think I got a little burned out. I didn't realize, you know, I had to work really hard in school to get good grades, and, you know, went to college, and it just was really, really, really different and challenging. And so I had some personal things go on. And so I finished the pre-med program and said, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go down a different road.
Totally opposite.
Yeah. So Syracuse had an IT department. They were one of the few schools, I think, in the country at that time that had an actual full-blown IT school. And there was no isolated degree. It was just information management and technology, which that's what's actually on my degree. And I changed my major my junior year and hit the books really hard and decided I wanted to do computers. I liked math and I liked programming. So I changed and said, I'll go back to med school one day, which, never happened. But so that's how it happened. And then I came home, got an IT degree, used it for a while. And then in 2009, I got laid off with a lot of other people when the recession hit.
And so let's hear about your family. You mentioned that you have a husband, you have kids. So tell us a little bit about them.
So I have my husband, Luke. We've been married 15 years this year. We met here. He's a local boy, too, from Front Royal. We have 2 kids. My oldest is almost 15. He's a freshman at Sharando. And my youngest daughter is 12. She's a 7th grader at Byrd.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fun times.
And they're busy.
Yes.
So how did your layoff impact your family? As you said, back in 2009.
Yes. So in 2009, I had Aiden. He was my only child at the time. I had him in 2008. And I got laid off. And I was the stellar employee. I worked for a corporate aircraft brokerage firm in Middleburg. Did all their IT, all their administrative networking. I kind of ran the show there. And there were 2 of us in the office that did what I did. And I was the stellar employee, came in, hour early, stayed an hour late, worked through lunch. And my counterpart was not that way. She missed a lot of work, not because she wanted to, but family life, and she just was not the reliable employee. And so when it came down to figuring out, the owner called me into his office, and I'll never forget it. The day, it was a Friday, and he said, here's a severance check. I'm laying you off. And I said, what? And these are the words he said to me. He said, you're going to make it. You're going to go on and do great things. And that's why I'm laying you off and not the other person. And I remember being so mad at him and so frustrated. But looking back now, he's the reason why I decided. So I was laid off. I tried to find other work for a while. I was a lifeguard in high school and in college and taught swimming lessons and was very good at that. I was always really good with kids. So I decided that I didn't want to drive an hour to go to work every day. I had a small child at home. My husband was a police officer. So I decided to go back to get my lifeguarding degree or my lifeguarding certification and my water aerobics and swim instructor. And I couldn't find a local job that paid anything. The aquatics industry doesn't pay great.
Yeah.
So I had a pool. I lived in a neighborhood that had a pool. And it was summertime, so I decided to just try it and see how it went. And I was really good at it. And summer came and summer went, and my child care provider at the time had told me a story that when she stayed at one of the local hotels, she saw a lady teaching swimming lessons out of the hotel pool. And I thought, well, that's genius.
Wow.
So I went to said hotel, sat down with them, and the owners of the hotel are one of the families in Winchester that owns several. And I was able to sit down with one of the owners and say, look, this is what I want to do. Will you let me use your pool? And they said, absolutely.
Wow.
So that was the beginning of Super Splashers.
And what year was that?
So that was in 2009.
2009.
So we started same year.
Okay.
I started in July, and I used for the first 13 years, I used hotel pools. We operated out of, well, I guess I can't do math this early in the morning or this early in the day. So I had 2 hotels, and I had, at the time, there was a gym here in Winchester called Body Renew, and they let me use their pool. And then COVID came.
Yeah. Okay. So keep telling the story. This is fascinating. So, I got to hear this idea of using hotel pools, more than one, around town to do swimming lessons.
Yep.
Also water aerobics. And you just started recruiting people and saying, hey, come, I've got this thing I'm doing and I'm going to be a part of it, and charge just enough to kind of keep you going.
Now, even prior to that, though, you had the lifeguarding. Did you have the pools yet?
No.
Okay. So you were doing the lifeguarding though prior to, right?
So the first, yeah, and I can get into how because there's a whole different division of what we do. So my swim school is my baby. Like that's my. I'll call it. It's really not a hobby anymore because I have a business now, a legitimate business. Sure. It was always a legitimate business, but I have a hard time taking a lot of, not credit, but I have a hard time. I love doing that. So it's the thing I do because I really, really, truly love to do it. But yeah, I had the hotels. Just word of mouth. I just went and started in small circles, and then those people would tell their friends, and it was just me. So I had started the business. Then I had found out I was going to have another child. Had a really hard pregnancy with her, so I ended up having to hire somebody who became this amazing part of my business. She was with me for 5 years. She retired and moved away. I was so sad to leave her, but that's why I ended up having to hire somebody, was because myself couldn't be in the water anymore. So then that's how it started. And then I hired another person, and then I hired another person. And then it just kind of escalated from there. And at one point, I think, during the winter months or off-season months, we would have, 8 or 9 instructors teaching in multiple locations. And then, and so then 2-3 years into it, I got a call from a gentleman who owned a pool management company here in town. And he had seen me at some of the pools teaching swimming lessons, because in the summertime, I'd go back to my pool where Megan and I actually both lived in the same neighborhood. Right. So I would teach there, and he saw me teaching, and he said, would you have any interest in buying my pool management company? And at the time, I knew I said no, because I wasn't really interested in that. I just was like, whoa, that seems like a big responsibility. And I was just doing my teaching thing. And my husband we sat down one day and he said, why don't you do this? Like, you're capable, you know how to lifeguard, you're great with people. Why don't we go do this? And he pushed and pushed, and I said, all right, let's go. So we went and met. At the time he was helping me, and we went out and we got 3 contracts that first year. They're still our clients, and this is our 10th. We just crossed our 10th year of pool management. So in the summertime, in addition to our swim school, we also manage commercial swimming pools. Wow. And we hire roughly 80 lifeguards and swim instructors to cover across Virginia and West Virginia.
Now you're blowing my mind as far as the level of growth that is just, you're making it seem so just, and then this happened and then that happened.
It's been a series of events that, I say I've been lucky. My husband's like, Noelle, luck is just what you make of it. I have a hard time saying, like, there's a lot of pieces that fell into place to get me where I am today. Yeah. But yeah, it was just this kind of, I started doing this thing that I love to do, and now it's this thing that I look back sometimes. And now with us opening up the Delco location, I look back and say, how did I get here?
Well, you put a pause in the story with COVID.
Yes.
So I got to hear kind of
how did the Delco Plaza thing come to be? Because you were renting it or using it. You had the affiliation with Body Renew, and then Body Renew decided they didn't need the building anymore.
So they actually went out of business prior to COVID. So we knew we had left there already, and we were just doing we had actually expanded to Strasburg, because there's the Signal Knob Recreation Center there. So at the time, we had expanded to Strasburg because we had lost Delco, or Body Renew. And COVID came, and everybody, our hotels were like, no way, right. You can't be here. Yep. Which we totally understood. Nobody was working at the time. And I got a call in April of 2020 from a gentleman who was going to open up the Delco, that suite in Delco. They were going to start their own, not gym, but kind of a private training business. And they didn't really want to use the pool, but they could use the pool, but they really needed somebody who knew how to operate a pool and could use it. So he was affiliated with Body Renew when we were there. He knew that I knew how to take care of the pool. So he called me and said, hey, this is what we want to do. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Keep me in the loop. I didn't hear anything. We were busy we were inundated with just getting our outdoor pools opened. thankfully. And I got a call from the landlord, the owner, Delco Development owns the building, and they called me and said, look, we need to rent this building. We need to rent this suite. We need you to come in and clean the pool. And I said, sure. So my staff and I showed up. We started, working to get the actual pool facility cleaned up, drained, washed and whatnot. And my wheels started to turn. Like, wow, could I do this? It's scary, right? Like, the world had just shut down. We had never seen anything like this. And here I was contemplating opening up a swim school in a world where we weren't sure what, that would look like. So I went rounds and rounds. I had a lot of, meditating over it and talking, discussing with my husband and discussing it with friends and family, like, what should I do? And I jumped. I jumped. And so we opened in September of 2020, which for me was still Super Splashers, but it was unlike anything I'd ever done before. I had a building. I had one place. I was actually able to interact with my instructors and meet all my families. And really at that time, I wasn't teaching a ton myself because, when you start a business, you tend to start doing the things to run a business and not do
the thing.
And I get lectured about that a lot. Like, you're supposed to be running the business and not doing the thing. And I'm like, no, but I still.
You need to still do
the thing I love to do is the thing that we do here. So, but yeah, it was really remarkable. The parents, we had to put a lot of procedural things in place, obviously, to protect our families and our instructors, but the response we got and the support we got from families. I mean, people wanted their kids to learn how to swim still, and it was crazy. I don't have another word to describe.
So the idea of doing it in hotels now has gone because you have the singular location.
Yes.
And you're able to see all the families and all the kids at least on a regular basis in the same location, which is helpful.
And just run a business. Like it was to me, it felt finally like all these years that I had a business where, it was hard to consider that because of all the stretching I felt like I was always doing, bouncing from place to place. So it was and it's been 2 years, and the last 2 years have been just crazy. It's been a whirlwind, and our growth has been, I'd like to say we're the best. We've always been the best in town. We're the only one in town now. So I would like to, I still strive to be, I tell my staff, we're going to pretend that there's a lot of swim schools in our area and we need to do, but yeah, I just am so fortunate and have been so lucky over the last 13 years now.
And I think you've taught all three of my niece and nephews, I think, because I think Colton was there at the hotel when he was really little. And then, of course, Kai and Noxie were at the Delco. So you've had them. And then that even branched out to what you ended up doing this past summer, which you never thought you were ever going to do with the Sharando Sharks, to actually end up being one of the coaches for the swim team for the county. So, I mean, I know that had to be really cool for you, too, to not only be able to coach, but to see so many of the students that you had and taught how to swim actually be on the teams.
Well, I will say the swimming community here is, it's a tight-knit community. And that's, this summer I had a parent come to me and say, you should consider coaching. And I said, no way. I don't even know if Megan knows the whole story, but I said, no way. I'm not a swim coach. Like, I'm a swim instructor. I'm really good at getting kids to stop crying and to
be comfortable with the water.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at getting kids to love the water. Like that's my specialty as a swim instructor. And so I said, no way. And I thought about it, and I went home and talked to my husband. I said, I think I want to do this. I think this is something that will make me more well-rounded as a swimmer and swim instructor. And so I did it, and it was amazing to it was just such a great experience because it taught me there was a lot of things that I didn't know. And most people assume that I was a competitive swimmer as a kid, and I wasn't. I didn't learn to swim. I was always comfortable in the water. We had a pool growing up, but I never learned to swim the strokes until I was a junior in high school. Because I wanted to be a lifeguard. And so that's when I learned and I had friends to help me learn how to swim the strokes. But coaching this summer was amazing, and I hope to do it again.
Just add more to your plate.
Oh yeah, because that's what I do.
Well, I know someone who will definitely like to help you coach again this coming summer. So
Yes.
my youngest she's kind of like a mini Noelle. Like she just loves working with kids and loves helping to, share the love of swimming and teaching. So she was able to work with Noelle with the swim team too. And my son Ben actually lifeguarded for you for a couple of years and worked at Delco actually lifeguarding during the swim lessons. And hopefully Molly will be in there getting in the water. She can't wait. She's been waiting until she knew she was old enough that she can actually help teach and help, I guess, be an apprentice with the swimming lessons and be kind of a helper in the water.
That's cool.
But it's an awesome thing that you do and that you get to provide to the community. And I know from what I had been in your office before Delco came, and to be able to have that space that, people can't really necessarily come to, that you needed to be in to be able to work, but to be able to have your business be someplace that you can actually do your business from is really huge.
Yeah, it was a big deal for me. And I think that it's helped me grow as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
I still, I laugh. I'm like, most days I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants and holding on really tight, right?
That's
Like, I guess
how
maybe
you roll. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of life of being an entrepreneur and a business owner, is to say, yeah, you got to jump off the deep end and just dive in and go. There's the puns for you. Yes, and just go do it.
We did a podcast. We did an episode. It's been probably maybe 4 or 5 episodes ago about being business owners, and because I had owned a bar previously, and then Coley Harry's.
I didn't know you owned Coley Harry's.
Yes, I did.
Wow,
yes,
that was a staple in my 20s.
See, there
you were probably in there
go back
when
and
I had it. So
you can listen to our episode several weeks ago.
So it's interesting, just the things that you find yourself doing as a business owner you never thought you would do. And I'm sure you have a huge list. And I know I've seen you patching up the bottoms of pools.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's
all kinds of crazy things with the management portion of it.
There's definitely a lot that goes into doing what we do every day. But I think that makes being the business owner exciting, is that I still get to do that stuff. I'm not one to just sit around.
Yeah.
I mean, Megan can probably attest this. I'm not just a sit at a desk type of person. I need to be out, and I'm a busy bee. So that definitely, I enjoy that part of it, actually.
Well, that makes the success, I think. You can't have a business owner just be up in the ivory white tower watching over everything. You've got to be able to
do what you're
do
what you would tell others
and
to do.
Fill in if somebody gets sick or can't do it, and that's part of it too.
Absolutely.
But give us the rundown of, you've kind of hinted on all the services that you guys provide. I mean, swim lessons is one thing, but what else, a part of all of the kind of components of your business, do you offer to the general public?
So obviously we do swim lessons, and we're really excited. It's been 10 years since, 13 since I've been doing this, and we are launching our first ever curricular redesign in January of 2023. So I'm very excited about that. But yes, we offer swim lessons to children ages 6 months and up, even adults. We do birthday parties. We actually have a partnership with Frederick County Parks and Rec, where we offer all of the health and safety training through the park. So we do CPR classes and babysitting training and lifeguarding. We do offer open swim memberships it's kind of limited just because we are very, very busy with swim lessons. And then, like I said, we do commercial pool management we have a division that does that as well. But all things swimming.
And all things pools and swimming.
We actually have a small retail store as well. I don't know that many people know this about us until they come and visit Delco, but we offer all sorts of swim-related things, suits. We offer towels. We have these really cool towel pants and ponchos that our swimmers
very
love.
popular.
Yes,
our
swimmers
love. That you will typically see them in them.
And we actually got them because of COVID. We thought, well, these are a really great tool for kids. Parents wanted to just get their kids dressed and go, which is still sometimes the case in the wintertime. But they were great. You can throw them on over your suit and just go. They're great. But we offer all sorts of swim attire and swim equipment.
Cool.
Yeah.
Goggles and suits and all kinds of stuff. Actually, with really good prices too, because I've gotten bathing suits from you for Molly that's where you could do way better than I could get for myself. So
well, we're able to do that because we don't have a big, we're not a brick and mortar store.
Right.
And one day my dream is to maybe open up more retail and have more retail as part of what we offer. But right now we just do it as a service to our swim families. You know, it's there. You know, we have a lot of kids that work for us that are on swim teams, and that's been really helpful for them to have a place that they can just get suits for swim teams. And so, yeah.
That's awesome.
And then you've got something coming up for Black Friday, don't you?
We do. So we also offer, and you know, I'm sorry I didn't talk about this earlier. I sometimes forget. So once a month we try to offer a parents' night out, similar to what you'd get. You know, I know there are some other places in town that offer it. So, but we have the pool, which is, you know, a great energy burner. We offer, so on Black Friday we are offering 3-hour blocks for you to drop your child off and go shop.
Cool.
So it's $30 a child. We do offer sibling discounts, but I think we have blocks 9 to noon, noon to 3, and 3 to 6 on that Friday. Last year it was really popular. We limit the spots obviously because we do understand, you know, swimming. When we limit, it's school-age children and up, and they don't necessarily have to be able to swim. We will have guards and staff members on site to help, and we do try to incorporate a little bit of swim lessons in there while we're swimming.
But it's a free swim and
it's for
play.
You drop them off, and the kids will. We have snacks, and we have if you have never seen the Delco facility. For those of you that don't know, it used to be the $2 theater back in the day. It's actually the first place I ever took Aiden to see a movie.
That's funny.
We saw Rio. But the rooms are identical, and on the one side of the facility, we have we've opened it up. It's just a big gym. It looks like a big open gymnasium room, and half of it we use for our swim families, and we have a little waiting area. But the other half is open. So we have kickball, we have badminton, we have all sorts of activities, board games. So just lots of fun activities for the kids to tire them out for 3 hours while their parents are shopping.
I think all the listeners will jump on that. That's Black Friday. Don't miss it. Well, I love the entrepreneur attitude that you have. And it's neat to just see other industries and opportunities pop up here in town that don't exist. And
thank
you kind of saw the need and we're like, yeah, let's go do it. And it's passion of yours, obviously, as well.
And
so
I do see a pattern. There was a lot of Luke convincing you.
Well, I will say I have to give him all the credit for, the pool management side of our business would not be here. I don't think I would have ever taken that leap on my own. And maybe I would have, but I just don't think I would have. He really pushed me in the direction. And of course, yes.
Right.
I need, you always need the support of your family.
Benefit of a partner.
And it's so
There you
helpful,
go.
yeah.
And now it's fun because my kids are now of the age that all of their, they go and meet all these kids at school, and I'm like, oh, I taught that kid how to swim.
Yeah.
Oh, I taught that kid how to swim. And, when we're out in public, my kids give me such a hard time. They're like, Mom, everybody. And you taught, let me guess, you taught them how to swim.
Yeah.
So, and this business is, I've met some of my closest friends, the web that it is created through this community for me as a person and my family has been tremendous being a business owner here in Winchester
Cool.
too. So.
Well, nice segue because we like to have all of our guests answer 5 iconic questions.
Sure.
And it's about our community. So just first thing that comes to mind,
Yeah.
you get to answer. Okay?
Yeah.
So question number 1, what's one of your favorite restaurants in town?
Oh gosh, I would have to say Chinatown.
Chinatown.
Yeah, because that's like my favorite fare, and that's and it's close to
Close.
work.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty much right across the street.
It is close to
That
work.
is true.
Yep.
All right, what is something you love about your neighborhood?
I love the relationships it's given my kids.
That's cool.
I will say the relationships that has given my kids. Growing up in the woods, we had friends, but we were it wasn't the same.
Yeah, not people around. No, I love that answer. That's cool. Third question. Why is Winchester a great place to live? Leading question.
Just the quaintness of the city. It's not too big, but it's not too small. I love the downtown, and I love the proximity it is to everywhere. I'm a very outdoorsy person. So, again, I don't think I appreciated this place, and most of us as kids don't.
Right.
We think of cities and I don't know. But I do. I truly love it. Has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And where do you like to hang out with friends in Winchester?
Oh man, hang out with friends. I don't do a lot of that anymore. Anywhere downtown is my favorite. Just sitting outside downtown is, and it doesn't matter where, as long as we're just outside.
Yeah. That's
it really
cool.
is.
And again, the seasons of Winchester allows for a lot of just kind of spring, summer, fall, great outdoor options. Last question. What is one of Winchester's hidden gems? Something that you think people don't know about that maybe they should know about?
I think the history. I think some of the history some of the really, really deep-rooted history that we have here in Winchester. I think unless you're a history buff, you don't really know our ties to places like things like the Civil War. My mom was a huge buff, so growing up, she made us very familiar with everything having to do with our area, even down to the plaques on the road down the road from our house.
Yeah.
So I would say just our ties to history
that's
and all the
awesome.
places that you can go around and see.
That's
and
cool.
Read.
Yeah, I agree. And we actually did an episode on that recently too. So
Wow.
I mean, that's true.
Yes, all the different things that we'd like to bring out here on Iconic Talk are coming to fruition here on this episode. Well, Noelle, thank you so much. But did you have something else to say?
I was just going to say,
Megan?
where can people find you?
There you go.
Oh, wow. Well, our website is www.ssaswim.com. If you go on our website, everything that you could possibly need to know is there. We do have a Facebook page that we also keep up to date, and it's just SS Aquatics. And then we are located in the Delco Plaza, in the mall entrance of the Delco Plaza, between the Berto's restaurant. If you enter that mall entrance, we're all the way in the back. We're Suite 9.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And this is an amazing opportunity for people to learn about what you are offering. So
Well, thank you so much. for
glad to be a
having
part of
me.
it. Thanks, Noelle.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you enjoy the conversation,
Yes.
Megan, so thanks for pursuing her and having her on. And again, like we talked about in the beginning, I just love the camaraderie of our community and promoting local businesses, local business owners, and what's happening around town. So what did you learn? I mean, did you glean anything new from the conversation with her?
First of all, I didn't know about her history with wanting to go into pre-med. So aside from the business aspect, that was kind of cool to find out. But just how many opportunities that have kind of come out of just a love of teaching swimming lessons and finding the opportunity from talking to somebody that she knew to be able to start it. And I know she's done that. I have friends that actually are swimming on the high school team that started their lessons with her when they were, 4, 5, 6 years old years ago.
Yep.
So at these hotel swimming pools. So for her to be able to grow from that into her own area, her own business. Well, she obviously had the business, but to where she has her own pool, her own facility right now, and can do lessons right there in her own building is just fantastic.
It's an amazing story of just a little spark of an idea that just grows and snowballs into something that is like a huge presence in town.
Yeah.
And I love it. And it's great to see that happen. And, there's the passion involved as well, combined with the business and the drive, so you got to have both. And I see that she has both, which is
She
cool.
definitely does. She's and she's just a great person overall. So I mean, I've always loved when I get to spend time with Noelle and chit chat with her, and I know how hard she works.
Well, definitely look her up
Yep.
and take advantage of that Black Friday thing, because that
If I had little kids, I would definitely be doing that.
That is the thing to do. So, well, what other local events are coming up?
All right, so we've got
leading into
coming up
Thanksgiving
on Saturday, November 19th, and Sunday, Belgrove Plantation is doing traditional German food, artisans, vendors, wreath making classes. It's the 34th annual Kris Kringle Market. And then we've got Thanksgiving coming up here very soon, and you can. There's a Thanksgiving dinner at the First Presbyterian Church on the 24th from 11:30 to 2. You can get home delivery and takeout only. So there's a phone number to call if you want to reserve a meal to have it delivered to you. And then we also have the 24th annual Thanksgiving Day 5K. That's going to be at Shrando High School, Shrando Park. Run, walk, stroll prior to your Thanksgiving feast. And it's a certified track course. Goes through the woods, trails.
Yes.
All kinds of great things.
I mean,
have you ever done it?
I've not done that.
Okay.
I'm not a run. I mean, yes, my son runs, but I hate running. There's something about that. But this past spring, I remember we talked about I ran 2 10Ks in a row, back-to-back weekends. It about killed me. not a
that's
fan.
right.
Yeah, not a fan of running. But actually, Pierce would probably run in that if he was in town. He's thinking about running in a more of a national like kind of race in North Carolina the day after, actually 2 days after Thanksgiving. So I think my wife and I might go, or she might be able to take him to go down there with his coach and run down there in North Carolina for a big race. So
that might be a fun little getaway for the weekend to go down there and get out of town for
a
couple
be.
days.
We need to talk about what that looks like for our family. But yeah, so the run there's the runner's world right there. You go where the races are. So, well, happy Thanksgiving coming up, everybody.
Right.
We will be having an episode for you. So look out for that. We'll continue to talk about what we're thankful for, talk about more of the state of the union in the real estate world. What does that look like? And how do you answer the question of what does the local market look like? So thanks for joining us on this episode of Iconic Talk. We hope you learned something from today's episode and really look forward to sharing more with you next week, like I just said. So remember, when you look for a real estate professional, make sure they are experienced, innovative, personal, dedicated, and available.
We appreciate you spending some of your valuable time with us. And if you have a moment, we'd love it if you'd leave us a rating and review. And if you're enjoying listening, take a moment to subscribe or share this podcast with your friends.
Yep. Once again, thanks to our editor extraordinaire, Sonia Battaglia. Until next time, think iconic.